welcome to The Top, the podcast that provides you with what you need to succeed in the real estate world. Brought to you by the Collin County Association of Realtors. Get ready to tackle top real estate topics in bite-sized amounts with CCAR President Shauna Acquisto and Jonna Fernandez, CCAR's Chief Operating Officer.
Hi, Shauna.
Hi, Jonna.
Welcome to The Top.
I'm happy to be here. Today we're talking about a topic that is too important to ignore, estate planning.
You're right. And I know a lot of us would prefer to bury our head in the sand when it comes to talking or even thinking about, life insurance, estate planning, and wills. But if we really, truly care about those we love, which I know we all do, we need to make this a priority.
And that is why we have today's guest with us here today. Today we're joined by Will Ramsey of Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So, Will, can you tell us about what it is that you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Will Ramsey. I work for Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. I am an insurance advisor. So, I do life insurance planning, but I also do home, auto, and farm and ranch insurance as well. But I advise my clients kind of on what they should do based on their certain situation. So I love my job, love Farm Bureau, so excited to be here, tell y'all more about it.
Awesome.
Well, you're really good at it. So let's just dive in and start with estate planning. And
absolutely.
I want you to tell us, why is estate planning important and what are some common misconceptions about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the big misconception about estate planning is how expensive it is. A lot of people are concerned with the cost of it, but in reality, it's really not all that expensive. So specifically with Farm Bureau, we offer free estate planning. That is a big thing that we do. That's a big thing that is important to us. That's important to our members. So we kind of mitigate that by getting a personalized plan together for our members and ultimately helping them take care of that. So I'd say that's the biggest misconception. Number two, without estate planning, the state is ultimately going to determine how the state is going to pass down and then who the estate goes to. And so if there's no estate plan in place, then the state of Texas basically gets to decide who gets to probate that will, how the will is probated, stuff like that. So it can get a little bit hairy if there's not an estate plan in place.
Sounds like a mess.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what are some of the common elements of an estate plan and how do you help your clients decide which ones are the right ones for them?
Absolutely, yeah. So everybody's situation is different. I'd say the three most important things that we do are wills, trusts, and then incapacity planning. Basically, we determine what's best for them based on their assets and their situation. So everybody's situation is different. Everybody's assets are different. So we kind of personalize it. We do business face-to-face. We're going to come sit down with you, talk with you about everything, and then we're going to come up with a plan that best suits you when it comes to that. So like I said, everybody's situation is different, but we're going to help you figure out that situation and kind of help you navigate that.
Okay.
So my question is, how is a will different than an estate plan?
Yeah, for sure. So that's a great question. So a will is part of the plan. The estate plan is the overview of the overall estate, but the will is going to be part of the plan. So the will is going to say, okay, here's what I want for tax purposes. Here's where I want my money to go to. Here's where I want my property to go to. It's kind of just the declaration of what happens to the estate. Now, the estate plan is going to be the overall view of, okay, here's where the finances are. Here's where the taxes need to go. Here's where the property needs to go, stuff like that. Okay. But the will is really what hammers that stuff out.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to kind of repeat a prior question, but I'm going to turn it around this time, and we're going to talk about wills instead of estate plan. So what are some common elements of a will, and how do you help your clients decide which ones are right for them?
Yeah, so three, I'd say, biggest common parts of a will. Number one is going to be the executor of the will. So the person that's put in place to say, okay, money goes here, taxes are paid here, property, here's what happens with the property. Second part is listing of assets. So I have this bank account with this bank, I have this bank account, here's how much it costs. And then the third thing is debts and taxes. So where do debts and taxes need to be paid are kind of the third portion of that. But I'd say that this is kind of the meat and potatoes of a will. Debatably, executor of the will is probably the most important thing. If you don't have an executor, your executor becomes the state of Texas. So you don't want that necessarily because then the will goes into probate and then it's a long, drawn out deal with the state. And so then they get to kind of decide if they want to cut and stuff like that. So having an executor, somebody that you trust, somebody that's important to you is really kind of the bulk of why it's so important on that part.
Okay.
So you mentioned life insurance before. How does that relate to wills and estate planning?
Yeah, for sure. So life insurance is going to just be part of the overall financial and estate plan. So there's a lot of things that life insurance can do, and we'll dive into that here soon. But it's going to be overall just part of the plan, just like a will as well. So life insurance does have different uses depending on the person's phase of life and also depending on their assets within their estate. So like I said, everybody's situation is different, everybody's plan is different, and so having life insurance can do a lot of different things. Life insurance is tax-free, so the number that's on that check is going to be that check that you receive. So the state doesn't take any taxes from that, so it's income tax-free from the state of Texas and from the federal government.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
That's good to know. Either.
So I do know that life insurance is extremely important to have, in protection of your loved ones when you pass along. So who should consider life insurance?
So I would say people that need to consider life insurance, one, people that are high net worth. Two, people that are new families, just had a baby, just got married. There's a lot of combining of assets, a lot of combining of life that's going on. And then also people that are transitioning into retirement. Also people that are kind of in the heart of their career as well. I don't want to say that everybody needs it, but yeah, everybody does need it, because it's important. But I would say that, most important people right now that I would say are people that just got married and then also people that have just had a newborn baby or have kids. So it's incredibly important.
So how do you help clients understand the different features and benefits of the various policies and that it's important to have this?
For sure. So what I do at Farm Bureau, like I said before, we're a grassroots company. We meet with people face to face. So I'm going to come meet you at your workplace. I'm going to meet you at your house. I'm not going to do it over Zoom, over the phone, nothing like that. I'm going to come and basically figure out what plan is best for you. We can tailor these plans to you and to your situation specifically. Some people need a little bit for maybe final expenses. Some people need a lot because they're just at the peak of their career. So, it's all kind of case by case, but that's why I'm here. That's why I meet with my clients. That's why it's important to have a relationship with my clients because I'm going to meet them face to face and ultimately help them with that plan.
And I love that you've established that, personal relationship. And I think, it kind of leads me to my next question. How do you make the clients make claims on their life insurance, like in the event of a death?
Yeah, for sure. So fortunately, I've only been a part of one death claim since I've been with Farm Bureau, which is a good thing. But every client that I work with has my personal cell phone number. I'm the point person for them when it comes to life insurance. this person in particularly, they called me just on a Saturday morning and said, hey, my father passed away. And so what I do is on my side, I go in, I file the death claim, and then we can normally get a check within about 24 hours. So we can either get it straight to them, straight to the family, but in this case, we send it directly to the funeral home where their loved one was going to be headed. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. We had an agent in Farmersville. He wrote a $1.5 million life insurance policy, and the guy ended up getting COVID 4 months later and died. And so we overnighted $250,000 of that to his family, and then the rest of that was paid over the course of a couple weeks in 3 different checks. So pretty big deal when you can deliver a death check with real money on it that's tax free. And just say, hey, here you go. We can't bring your loved one back, but this is the least we can do.
Well, you don't want that. I mean, you already have so many decisions to make in such a short amount of time and it's expensive.
Absolutely.
So that's really incredible.
Yeah, it's not cheap to die, unfortunately. No. So it's sad, but that's what it's for ultimately. Is that's why you pay your premium. We're not gonna kind of dangle that money over you like a carrot. We're gonna pay out that money because that's important for our families. So.
Yeah. I had no idea that the turnaround was that quick. No. I figured that you had to wait for death certificates and all sorts of stuff, and it was maybe weeks to months down the road. So that's good to know.
Yeah. We underwrite on the front end. So there are some companies that underwrite on the back end. So they say, okay, well, this guy died of COVID. Well, they might take that into consideration when they're paying a death claim. But we don't do that. We underwrite on the front end. We try to mitigate that process, make it as easy as possible, and get policies issued in about a month. So 2 weeks to a month is kind of our goal. So
very good.
Yeah. Each company is different. Most companies are gonna underwrite on the front end. You don't have to go to the doctor. Normally somebody's going to come to your house and take 2 vials of blood. You're going to pee in a cup, and they're going to kind of do an overall blood profile, and then it gets issued, and then you've got your policy. So
okay. So now we're all familiar with estate planning, wills, and life insurance and how they all relate to each other. And I'm sure for some of us that brings a new level of anxiety and urgency. So thanks, Will, for that.
Of course. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all good. I know it's well worth it to know our loved ones will be taken care of no matter what. So I really appreciate you coming in and talking to us about that today.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So, yes, hard topic for sure, but we so appreciate your expertise. I mean, you've been super helpful just for us, so I'm glad you were on here to talk to our listeners.
Of course.
So before we let you go, is there anything else you would like to, share with our listeners?
I guess, if you or your family need help with this, feel free to contact me. I can give you guys my contact info. But yeah, happy to help anybody. It's super important. Everybody should have it. It's something that can really set you up for a long time and can really set up your family for generational wealth as well. So, if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to have conversations, whether you decide to get life insurance or not. I'm still happy to have a conversation about it. So I appreciate you guys letting me on the podcast. Really
Absolutely.
do.
For those listening, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to subscribe to Welcome to the Top wherever you get your podcasts. Also, leave us a review. If you have a question or topic you'd like us to discuss, email us at ask@welcometothetop.com and listen to hear us cover it in the future.
We can't wait to hear from you. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Shauna Quisto, and keep building for our future.
Special thanks to our hosts, Jonna Fernandez and Shauna Quisto. Producer, Bree Westbury. Audio engineer, Mike Maples. Outreach and Guest Relations Manager, Kendall Crawford. And podcast administrator, Sean Offsall. Tune in next time, and don't forget to enjoy your journey to the top. The statements made by speakers in this podcast do not necessarily represent the views or position of the Collin County Association of Realtors, its leadership, or its members. This podcast is not intended to give legal, financial, medical, or other advice, but simply to provide information as a springboard to further discussion and investigation.